Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, no, this is not the Road Dog Jesse James. This is the Carolina Bad Boy Chapel. And I'm here with Post to Post Wrestling once again. I love this every time with one half of the brothers of discussion, the mighty Will.
Yes.
What's going on, Will?
Living a dream, being tall and being cold.
You are tall. That's a fact. We saw each other last at the AEW Holiday Bash. I sent you that picture of me to you. I'm like, man, he's a tall motherfucker.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I've only shrunk a little bit. The gravity of the years has only pulled me down a smidge.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I've always been very low to the ground.
Yeah. My high center of gravity said, no, you will never be a wrestler.
Right. I did a pretty good job at 5'8" for a while, you know. Now it is a small man's game. I mean, every time I see Adam Cole, I get jealous.
Yeah. My main thing is, yeah, I'm tall enough, but I'm not bulky.
Right. I'm bulky enough. I'm just not tall enough.
I'm a big boy. I'm not a big boy.
Oh, man. We got a lot to talk about, brother.
Goddamn, don't we? I know anyone that's listening wondering, why the fuck was this son of a bitch not doing anything last week? Well, I was busy. Shit was happening. It took me forever to actually watch stuff, so that made me just say, hey, we're going to hold off. And then, I was hoping for another edition of Between Two Corys, but other Corey was also busy, so it wound up being just the Chapel and Big Willie connection this week.
Yeah, right. Chapel Big Willie style.
Yeah. My cousin Wesley used to go by Big Willie. I was just like, that makes no sense, man. Your name's Wesley.
You're Wesley. Yeah.
I'm glad to be back this week. Hopefully before too long we'll get some things going. I've still got to get in touch with that one dude about some interview stuff and figure it all out. But we're working on things. I'm slowly, again, still trying to plan some sort of like refresh since we're in this period of transition with the other brother, Grayson, being out on paternity leave, basically. Yeah. So I'm trying to freshen things up, pull a new angle, maybe start doing an interview series with people that are just big into the wrestling community and scene and start working my way up from there to get bigger names. I know I've got some ideas of some people I can talk to, but that's kind of where my head's at right now. Other than that, been trying to watch as much wrestling as possible. I know I've watched a bunch over the past week or so.
I know I'm late to the party on the an episode from Dark Side of the Ring. I just watched the Nick Gage one recently.
Oh boy, that was...
I didn't watch it when it came out, and I was like, I'm putting it off because, I'm not the biggest Nick Gage fan, but I'm not a hater either.
No.
I mean? So, it's like, I get it, but, I have my own thoughts of how, I view pro wrestling and how I like to do pro wrestling myself. But, I mean, what a story. My God.
Yeah, I mean, it rained shit on him forever, and he somehow managed to turn shit into gold.
Well, the fact that he didn't realize so many people enjoyed his work. Or,
I know.
It had to be him in prison before he realized that.
Yeah.
And
he had to hit rock bottom before he realized how much of an influence he had been. Surprised.
And basically the whole role reversal with, Justice Payne, his brother, because how his brother treated him in the beginning. And then I remember when Justice died, I was like, oh, man, this is bringing back some old memories here, like when they start talking about CZW.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I actually have a CZW story. I don't know if I've ever shared it on the podcast or not, but it's not for me. It's for a friend of mine who I won't name his name. He might not want to be known.
Got you.
But he's in England right now. He's a English pro wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll call him Steve Dave.
Yeah, we'll call him Steve Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And
tell him Steve Dave sent you.
Yes. if anybody knows some good Kevin Smith references, they'll get that. But anyways, like, let's just say me and Steve Dave used to have a lot of matches back in the day, and our styles very much clicked. And but he got the chance to work a CZW show against Zandig.
Okay, that's a pretty big one.
And yeah, he's going to work Zandig. No big deal, right? He cuts a promo to try to get heat.
Mm-hmm.
He basically says he's going to make Zandig his bitch.
Oh, no.
Okay, now, normally you wouldn't think anything about that. This is CZW, you know, like CZW and ECW. Like, the hardcore wrestling scene back then was pretty crazy, you know, for the underground pro wrestling fan.
No doubt.
And so when he said that, apparently Zandig had been to prison.
Uh-huh.
And apparently experienced some stuff in prison.
Yep.
And didn't take kindly to the comments from somebody he didn't fucking know.
No.
And let's just say, legitimately shot on my friend during this match.
Oh, God.
All because of that. I was like, wow, that was your first introduction to, like he just come to the States and started working shows and stuff, and
you get
that
shot
was
on
his
like
introduction to the hardcore wrestling scene.
Damn, you get shot on by one of those.
All I could think of was Jesus, you know. anybody knows, you know, Botchamania made that shit famous.
Mm-hmm.
Saying Jesus in that horrible post-match interview.
Yes. Oh, man.
Anyway, sorry to cut away from everything. Just throwing in some shit I know from.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. I know.
Some fans here.
Just wait till you watch. I believe the season finale for this season was XPW.
Yes, I'm almost to that one. For some reason, I kind of watched them out of order. I just sort of seen them out of order, and like I've already seen like the Luna Vachon.
Yeah, that one was great.
Was really good and really heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I don't know how I never knew she was adopted. I always knew she was a Vachon in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew, like, the way she got adopted was really fucked up.
Yeah.
And crazy. But it was great that he was there to, you know, because it was Mad Dog. It was a Mad Dog, or it was Butcher Vachon.
Yeah.
You know, but he got her out of a bad situation with that poor girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, blood, sweat, and tears for pro wrestling. And every time I see that whole, I already knew that story about Sable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they told her, you not to put a scratch on her and all this stupid shit, or you're fired. And I'm like, that's Luna fucking Vachon.
Yeah.
Dude. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like this girl who has paid no dues whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, stay a fucking valet. If you're going to be an in-ring worker, you're going to have to learn that shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know, you can't go in there like that. And that's why I have, like, zero respect for Sable. I have for a very long time. Exactly. When it comes to being a worker or whatnot. And then, like, Luna, like, walking through the curtain, everybody's, like, giving a standing ovation. And she thinks for her for putting her over. And it was for Sable, who did absolutely nothing the whole fucking.
And wild shit, man. The last thing I want to say on it is with the XPW one, I don't know if I mentioned on the show before, but I probably did because this was a couple weeks ago. I found an XPW cassette at my buddy's store back
God.
In Morganton, and I picked it up for like $5.
Dude, I wished I had bought so much wrestling stuff at FYE like 20 years ago. Like, right, I would be sitting on a gold mine right now.
I could only imagine how much it's actually worth.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking like back then they had all the ECW shit, the XPW shit, they had the FMW shit, like seeing my mom as the gladiator, you know, working Masato Tanaka was like big, you know, Hayabusa and shit like that. Like, yeah, it was just crazy back then. And now it's like, you know, only if you're a fan, you're trying to find this shit now. And it was like, it was out there so much at one time. If a fucking country boy from North Carolina could find all this shit, anybody could find this shit back 20 years ago. And now it's like you're just searching the internet for it, you know?
Exactly. I know.
I can't wait to watch that one because, yeah, I have some very interesting memories with XPW. Just, they wanted to be ECW so bad.
Yeah, they did.
And they even invaded that one ECW show, and it didn't turn out very well. And,
it turned into a fucking stinker is what it did. But,
you know, it was what it was. But it's still a big part of that kind of wrestling history, so I like going back and watching it. I remember I'm going to do a shout-out to a wrestler I know named Major Havoc.
Ah, yes.
So Major, I used to give him hell because I had bought the new PWI.
Mm-hmm.
And Homeless Jimmy from XPW was higher than Major Havoc in the PWI 500. And I said, how are you lower than Homeless Jimmy? I used to aggravate the shit out of him all the time. I was like, it's right here in the PWI 500, man. Homeless Jimmy is ranked higher than you.
Fucking hell, man.
But it's all out of love. Anyways, so what do you want to hit first, brother? We got so much we really need to talk about.
There's a ton. I know we can kind of cliff note a little bit of it just because. And, you know, I know some people, if they're listening to multiple shows, they're already hearing some of this, but hell, you haven't heard our take on it, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, I would love it if this was one of those things that I was able to do and had some, you know, deep in the trenches, behind the scenes info, so I could really put it out there early, like the fucking Bleacher Report shows,
right.
etc. I mean, everything with us it's pure reactionary, and then we can do some speculation on what's going to come from it.
Of course.
But I guess the first things I want to touch on, since it's one of the shorter things, is all the shit's gone down in WWE over the past week. Man. Because, I mean, I didn't think that my headline of Release-a-Mania was going to catch on. That one episode that I titled that way back when, I didn't think it was going to just keep having multiple versions. I mean, hell, we're up to like, what, Release-a-Mania 15 now or some bullshit?
It's crazy. I have never in my life, like at first I'm like, okay, I get it. They're a big corporate business. They're going to cut corner, you know, they're people. Because that's just what corporate business.
I mean, they're going to trim the fat, but
trim the fat, and it's like this is expected. This, you know, but this has been like more than expect. I mean, for Christ's sakes, months ago it was Bray Wyatt. Who ever thought in a million years that they would cut Bray Wyatt?
Never. And this week, even more. I was just like, what the fuck? I mean, it's like the biggest one of them all. They cut loose fucking Steven Regal.
Oh my God! That's the most recent. For whatever reason, we could get on this later. It's like they're basically, like punishing Paul Levesque and Triple H.
Yeah.
For not beating AEW with NXT and the ratings and stuff.
I know. Apparently, like this is like it really seems like some petty ass. Like squabble. I really feel like what it is McMahon's feeling butthurt that Triple H was putting out a better product for so long, and every time he pulled those performers up to the main roster, he fucking buried them, with the exception of a few.
I mean, burying Cross, for Christ's sakes. What is it with Vince McMahon and putting people in gladiator outfits? What?
I mean, it didn't work for fucking Zeus and fucking.
It didn't work for fucking Ron Simmons when they renamed Farouk, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's Ron Simmons. That's the first African American WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you repackage him. I mean, Christ, we know who Ron Simmons is.
I know.
And you want to make him a gladiator, like this terrible. I just was like, man. his in-ring work was so ferocious that it didn't kind of matter in a sense. It's like,
I mean,
character evolved, but
he'll
then
make damn.
First initial was like, this is it. It's like, it almost seems like a joke. Like he just tries to put certain people in this position and say, just work with it. Let's see what you do.
It's just, it feels like he wants to put them on at a disadvantage to begin with, unless he personally
up for failure. Like, wouldn't you want to fucking like give them? They're already got the confidence booster that they're coming to the big show. So why can't you boost their confidence to the fucking moon and give them something that's going to fucking work for them?
Yeah. No shit.
And okay, now back to like let go steer, because Steven was able. Triple H was basically building his own team for whenever Triple H was going to be in charge.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
And he basically
with people that he trusted and he knew would do the right thing. And I mean, we're talking Samoa Joe. They just him for the second time. And Steven Regal, and there's other producers and shit.
Yeah, they got Road Dogg was doing behind the scenes stuff. They got him loose this past week too.
Exactly.
I mean, Regal is still like. I mean, it sucks that they cut Joe loose. I mean, it just honestly, when they brought Joe back, I was just like, personally, that's just delaying the inevitable.
Well, I mean, if he can't do any in-ring work, because I don't know the extent to what's going on with Joe.
I mean, he was doing just fine, and then they pulled him back out in ring work again. I don't know what it was. Like, he didn't get an injury again.
I didn't know if he had a lingering injury or what was going on, or if he's just kind of like, hey, I'm looking for my other out in this business.
Yeah.
Because I can't do this forever. Because let's be honest, Joe worked a very hard style for a very long time.
Yeah, he did.
And I appreciate him for it. He's a good talker. He's good on the mic and good in the ring. But being a commentator, he's a decent commentator. I don't think he's bad at all.
I think he'll grow into it like Taz did.
Right, exactly. Like it does feel like early Taz. Like Taz had the charisma, but he had I don't know if it was a timing issue or if it was just I didn't know enough about commentating at the time.
Yeah.
But now, Taz now got him in Excalibur's like shit on Dark. They're basically just bullshitting in Dark. Man.
It's beautiful. I love how like easy it is for them to rib off one another.
Oh yeah, and that's all they do the whole time is rib. And they're calling the match, but at the same time they're ribbing on each other, and it's fluent.
Yeah.
And Botchamania picks up on it all the time. It's great.
I know. But I mean. It's crazy how much like internal squabbles and petty bullshit there still is with this massive corporate entity that is WWE.
I mean, why would you want to set up why would you want to punish your own son-in-law that way? Is it more of a Nick Khan thing?
I feel like what's happening, and I believe John or may have mentioned it last time he was on too. He's of a mind, Grayson is too, that pretty much Triple H isn't taking over. Nick Khan's going to take over.
Nick Khan is being groomed.
Yeah, he's being 100% groomed. And why? Honestly,
why? And Ric Flair talks very lowly of Nick Khan.
Yeah, I mean, the dude doesn't fucking know the business.
And he talked about his blatant disrespect, and granted, anybody can say what they want about Ric Flair. Ric Flair has probably done some really fucked up things over the years.
Yeah.
But as far as like fucking over straight up boy on shit, Nick Khan doesn't give a fuck about none of that.
No.
It's not about that. It's purely business.
Yeah, Nick Khan's all about black and red. That's it.
Exactly.
And honestly, all he's seeing right now is red.
And, and I know some people who don't really know who Nick Khan is. It's not Tony Khan. Let's make that very, very...
This one, I mean, regardless of what some people like to say and joke about Tony Khan, this Khan's the shitty Khan.
Yeah, I mean, Tony actually legitimately gives a shit about people because, honestly, even though Mark Madden said it the best on like Ric Flair's podcast, AEW is kind of like is like 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag when it comes to talent, because they have so much talent, but they don't have enough like outlets to fucking show all the talent that they have properly. Because let's be honest, unless you're a hardcore fan, you're not watching Dark and Dark Elevation.
Yeah, I mean, even me being a fairly hardcore fan, I don't watch Dark and Dark Elevation anymore because
I watch it. I just like, it hits me and I'm like, oh, I'll just put some wrestling on.
They're too fucking long.
Well, they're too long, and I mean, in the sense of like the old school, like Crockett, like studio shows.
For me, it's pure squash matches all the time.
It's pure squash matches, but it's like almost an hour and 40 minutes of squash matches with some good matches. It's just too long of a squash match. Like, even like the studio shows had some decent shit going on here and there, but
yeah,
overall, that's the thing about Dark. You're going to see some good stuff sometimes.
I feel like the one thing that they need to start doing is just for real putting on some like legitimate house shows. Like, send like a fucking crew out that just works dark house shows all the time, like non-televised. They just travel in the general area where the main show's going, and then they do shows in the periphery. Right. It doesn't have to be super fancy. They rent out something small. They take like one of their B rings. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And they do small time like house shows.
What Impact did.
Yeah.
I mean,
dirt cheap.
TNA. That
make
was
it happen.
Yeah, and I mean, you throw a few names on there, just because you want to draw people.
Yeah, you're going to generate revenue.
You got to think logically. You're not going to draw people in with a bunch of names they don't know.
No, but you're going to generate revenue. You're going to get people talking about them, especially if you like market it the right way.
Exactly.
And it's going to turn out good. I mean, WWE's kind of been doing that shit recently, it seems. With those WWE like house shows or whatever they've been running lately.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact name, but give it WWE Live or some shit. I forget what it is. But they've kind of been doing that, and that's something I think AEW could do to kind of start spreading the sugar out into a few more bags.
Right. Because it's crazy because give it to Tony Khan. I don't know a big list of people who lost their jobs in AEW over the past.
Basically, other than people that asked to leave.
Right. Yeah. And everybody had a job and good. And you know, it may not have been the best business decision, but my God, you got to hand it to the man. And that's, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he earned a lot of fucking points with the business and the community for doing that.
Right.
Like, you don't want to call them brownie points because he wasn't brown nosing it. But
it almost seems like sabotage when WWE lets all these people go. AEW is like, oh God, I can pick them up. I can pick them up. I can pick them up.
I know the big conspiracy a lot of people were saying is they're letting them go on purpose to flood AEW and fuck them over. And I'm like, that's too weirdly long game. Why would you purposely do that? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it could be a slowdown tactic for sure.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my God, when you let Bray Wyatt go, I'm sorry, that's your best worker. Hands down the best worker they've had in the past 10 years. I mean, just pure worker. Yeah. Not just like what he can do in the ring. I mean, everything. Because a lot of his shit come from him.
Yeah. I mean, he comes from a hell of a fucking, like, family, too.
For sure.
Yeah. Goddamn IRS. Who was the other one? Wyndham. Barry Wyndham.
Barry Wyndham, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that right there, I mean, IRS / PK Wall Street / Mike Rotunda, damn good in the ring.
Oh, yeah. He was like one of the best hands there ever was.
Yeah, I mean, super good.
I don't think you understand how broad that audience is compared to
it's huge. It's like, even on their worst night, they're still doing like a 50% to double what AEW is doing on a good
Well, yeah, because I mean, even Eric Bischoff said, he was like, look, they made more money doing the Saudi Arabia show than AEW is going to make all year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a
dig at AEW. It's just
it was only a 3-year company.
Yeah.
For God's sakes. Why do we have to act like they're already like this? I mean, they're established, but I mean, my God, it's only for years.
Yeah, they're still the scrappy underdog, but for what they've done in 3 years, it has been impressive.
Oh yeah, it's very impressive. I mean, honestly, right now, it's the majority of what I keep up with.
Yeah, I know Weatherman likes to give them hell, and that's just because they don't.
They're not above criticism by no means.
No, not at all. But at the same time, God love him. If it doesn't match up with the old school ways, it's not for Weatherman.
Right.
But
I'm pretty old school, but I'm lenient on a lot of stuff. You know, like you know me. Outside of wrestling, I love comedy and shit, but I'm not the biggest fan of comedic wrestling.
It really has to be something interesting.
Danhausen gets a hard pass.
Yeah.
Hardcore Danhausen fan.
Oh, I fucking love Danhausen. But, yeah, so we've digressed a little bit.
We have digressed a lot.
Before we get too far gone, I mean, what was it? Yesterday, today, whenever the fuck it was, this past weekend, Mustafa Ali requesting his release from WWE, saying like they've pretty much shat on his dream more or less on Twitter.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Well, I don't know where Mustafa lands on like the whole like Twitch thing and stuff like that. Like like Adam Cole. Like I'm sure Adam Cole was so ready to be done with WWE, so because he's a big video game guy. Mm-hmm. I know Mustafa's into games and shit, but I don't know that. I honestly, I don't keep up with Twitch and shit.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I hear things from other people, and I'm like, that has to be a big thing.
Yeah, WWE wants too much fucking control over their talent,
especially for people who are considered.
They're subcontractors.
They're subcontracted, basically. And so it's like, but they're expected to act like that's all they work for.
Yeah.
And, technically they could work for somebody else, but they're not going to let them. They'll fight them every chance they get, unless they approve of it.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Until WWE just fucks up so fucking hard, like it makes national headlines, nothing they're doing right now is really going to hurt them.
Well, Jesus Christ, the steroid trial.
Well, yeah, that's
like if that didn't bury him, holy shit.
I know. But speaking of trials and possibly some coming up, guess who got into trouble with the law again?
Oh, is someone having sunny days again?
Yes, indeed. Damn.
But it's not sunny.
Her ass can't stay out of trouble, man.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Like, once she left the limelight, she went fucking hard, like made a hard turn for stupid. From the layman's perspective, where if you don't know any backstory, you just think she just started making stupid-ass decisions.
It's like,
in the limelight some way, somehow.
Did porn pretty much like 15 years too late.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
much to
heard of porn when I was in high school.
Much to Jerry Lawler's chagrin.
Oh, Jerry. Oh, she's a little old for Jerry.
Now.
Hell, even then.
Jerry's a damn horn dog, man. But yeah, it's like
old Jerry liked them young back in the day, man. From what
creepy.
I always heard. But anyways, like, yeah, it's like she can't seem to get out of stay out of trouble. It's like, I think she's almost stuck in an era, if that makes sense too.
Yeah, she's caught in a loop.
And a lot of things have changed since the past 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, like this most recent thing, she got pegged for I believe gun and drug charges, and then also more or less the equivalent of domestic terrorism due to the threats she was making online.
Oh my God. I didn't see what the threats she made, but I heard
They didn't really mention it in depth from the article I read, but what she was saying was the equivalent of verbalizing domestic terrorism.
Well, the article I read didn't really say gun. It said it could have been anywhere, like a knife.
Well, weapons. I almost always kind of, when they say weapons charges.
But I'm guessing she's on probation, so she's not supposed to have anything.
I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a gun if it's going to violate probation. If she just got a pocket knife or something, they're not going to say anything.
She's carrying around a machete and we don't know about it. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I wonder where she's hiding that. Okay,
but that is crazy. I mean, it's like, my God, girl. Just do your OnlyFans and make your money that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you're at that time of your life. And I mean, it's like, look, now what's weird is she looks better than she did when she did the porn. It's like, my God. I was like, why couldn't you look this good when you done the porn? Like, she looked horrible during that porn. I was like, I remember knowing it was happening. I was like,
I've waited years for this. Oh, I've waited years for this.
In my brain. And then I was like, never so disappointed in my whole life.
Oh, boy. Perfect segue. Okay, so, crazy people doing stupid things. That's basically the topic. And so, the perfect transition here from our girl Sunny and her ways.
I hate it.
Goddamn Dumbomania is running wild. Old Hulkster.
Oh, man.
If he couldn't fuck up any harder, the one person that you don't besmirch in the world, who just recently passed away, he had to go and say something fucking stupid. I have not met a single person on the planet that has a bad thing to say about Betty White.
Well, I don't think it's so much a bad thing, but about Betty, but he's making this like political.
I mean, yeah.
Like all these people here recently just took the vaccine and now they're dead, and I'm like, look, I mean, whatever you think politically is your business, and you know, and I know that a lot of things are from point of views I've never had, but
yeah. Correlation does not denote causation.
This is some like beyond Alex Jones shit. Sometimes,
honestly, like it's the fucking water in Florida. That's what I'm going to say. Florida's goddamn weird fucking place. That's all it is.
Disney World is there.
Need I say more?
Yeah, I mean, the most fucked up place on earth.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would go back to Disney World is just go to Star Wars Land and maybe Epcot.
I want to go to Star Wars Land so bad I can't stand it.
I know, that's the only place I want to go. Yeah, I mean, to bring it all back around to really hammer it home,
right?
And let's just keep it as short and succinct as possible. Florida's fucking weird. It makes 90% of the people that move there weird too. Michael Graves, or not Michael Graves, but Corey Graves. I wanted to say Michael Graves because we've been talking about crazy asses in Florida for so long.
You talked about crazy, you thought Michael Graves.
I know, right?
Corey
Graves has been like medically cleared to come back in the ring.
Corey Graves.
Yeah,
cleared for in-ring action. Good for him.
I know, he was really good.
Yeah, I actually had the talent, and kind of like Bryan Danielson at one point in his career, you know, he thought his career was over.
I know Corey's been behind the mic doing commentary for fucking, 5, 6?
He's so good, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty damn good at that, but I want to see him back in the ring more than I want to hear him talk.
Well, he doesn't sound generic.
No, he really doesn't.
And that's one thing his authenticity is what I like about him as a commentator, where everybody else. I mean, granted, I think Michael Cole is good. Like, a lot of people like to give Michael Cole shit, but Michael's done a lot, seen a lot, and been a big part of the company for many years.
Yeah.
So, like, come on, man, cut Michael some slack. He's just Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, a lot of the other, like, when they had Byron Saxton there, I was like, I could do without ever hearing Byron Saxton. Like, he was so generic. He was not ever, anything he ever said ever stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Corey Graves knew how to call a match, and he knew his role as kind of the heel commentator.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, and he did it very well. And he still does it very well.
Yeah.
But he hit back in the ring doing what he wanted to do in the first place. It's got to be exciting.
Oh, I'm hoping that they utilize him. It's going to bring eyes back. People that want to see him wrestle.
Oh yeah,
they're going to tune in. It's plain and simple. Like, I want to see him wrestle again. I do. It would make me want to turn on a WWE program. Where would they put him? Who the fuck knows?
Well,
really. I mean, who's he commentating for right now? Which brand or both?
I honestly don't know, and because I don't keep up anymore.
Neither do I. This is the curse of lacking John on the regular.
Yeah, because you know, somebody who watches the product, because the only thing I ever watch is highlights, and then I don't remember.
Yeah.
I can't sit through a 3 hours.
I can't either. I really can't. 2 hours is good enough.
If it's two.
3 hours is what I would want as an ideal length for a pay-per-view, not a fucking Monday night regular televised program.
Well, fuck, I can remember telling people, like, when I was in the wrestling business, they're like, so, you know, there's a script, and I'm like, no, there's not a script.
There's a general outline.
There's a general, yeah, but there's a script, and then it's like, oh, well, thanks, WWE, for fucking that up for everybody.
Yep.
And, you know, if I have to hear Roman Reigns do another bland-ass promo, Jesus.
God, I mean, it's like, I'll throw the fucking Roman marks the bone. Like, dude's best he's ever been right now. Oh, yeah. But he is still the most two-dimensional and boring motherfucker in the world. And that goddamn fucking interview he did recently where he was just blowing smoke up his own ass because he broke Brock's fucking record for how long he held the fucking Universal title. I was like, look, dude, the only reason I'll say, hey, good for you for breaking Brock's, or the two reasons I'll say good for you for breaking Brock's record are this. One, I fucking hate Brock Lesnar. Even his character now doesn't redeem him. Fuck him. I don't like him. Two, it's not really fucking hard to beat a fucking part-timer.
Well, I have something to say about that I never thought I'd ever say. Brock Lesnar is the best I've ever seen him promo-wise.
Oh, right now? Yeah, I mean, I won't deny that.
Everything I have seen so far, I was like, and then when he won, even though I don't think they should have ever taken the title off Big E.
No, never. They shit on Big E.
But even though Lesnar got the title, the fact that he was taking pictures with people and doing videos with people.
That's fucking weird, man.
So weird. Like, first of all, the
only he smoking weed now or something?
And this is the only thing I like about the Brock now.
Yeah.
Is he seems like he's enjoying himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that part makes me happy because
it doesn't seem like he's got his head up his own ass anymore.
Like him because he did never really have the true respect for the wrestling business that I thought he should have had.
Yeah.
And he never seemed like he enjoyed it. And he just did it for the money.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, I don't give a shit. And first of all, now I can cut a promo that doesn't sound like I'm a robot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where has this guy been for 20 fucking years?
Maybe he started smoking weed or something.
Maybe he's opening his mind.
He's microdosing mushrooms and smoking weed.
Maybe he's microdosing. Who knows? I don't know.
It's open this shit up.
Because why else would he be wearing coveralls out on Raw?
No,
I mean, I know you are a farmer, but Jesus.
Yeah.
You'll look like caveman hillbilly Jim out there. Jesus.
God damn.
With an onion head. That little top ponytail is just not doing it, man.
No, it's dumb as hell. Cut your fucking.
You look like a fucking onion every time he does it. Every time
shave your head bald. Just do it. Don't do the crew cut. Don't do the man bun. Shave that shit off and just rock the beard. You'll be alright.
Yeah, fuck, he could do it. I mean, hell, Goldberg pulled that shit off.
Yeah, but let's go ahead let's move away from WWE because, for me personally, fuck that place. And let's go talk about All Elite for a little bit because we got some nice tie-ins. Since a little while ago, we talked about how the Road Dogg was released. Well, his old buddy Billy, another DX alumni, he has trademarked or filed for a trademark for the New Age Outlaws name, which surprises me. I would have thought fucking WWE would have had that shit locked fucking.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have that on lockdown. I don't know. For some reason, didn't. They just, with the DX thing ride, where they were part of DX. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing with this, though, is it almost makes me think that we're going to see those two do something in ring together very soon.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I feel like if it happens, much like with Regal, if AEW reaches out to the Road Dogg to do something, yeah, throw him a bone. Let him work the ring with fucking Billy. It'll be a nice throwback for all the people that want to see it. But go ahead and transition him back to backstage again like he was in NXT. And
because that's where he's going to shine right now.
Exactly. He's a behind-the-scenes man.
And nobody knows when it comes to the actual entertainment part. Or if you want to say sports entertainment part. Road Dogg knows his shit.
Mm-hmm.
Old school pro wrestling is already so ingrained in him for who his daddy is.
Yeah.
Bullet Bob Armstrong is your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you have all you and your brothers all like great workers. He wasn't the best in-ring worker compared to like Brad, but he had more charisma than Brad ever thought about having.
Oh, yeah, Road Dogg had charisma oozing out of every fucking pore.
That dude knows how to get it. One time I saw him in a house show. No lie. This was when DX would get like girls to flash in the crowd.
Yeah.
So this girl flashes, right? It was a house show. Who cares? It's not televised. Security comes and nabs her. It was New Age Outlaws against D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry of the Nation.
Mm-hmm.
They all four stopped. Road Dogg sit on like the turnbuckle or whatever for a minute. He's like hollering at them. Then he grabs the microphone and says, I don't know about y'all, but I'd rather see some tits than wrestle. And the crowd just popped. It was the crowd just erupted. But then they had their match anyway. And it's just like he just knew how to work the crowd. He was such a good, he's so good. Like WWE trying to punish people in the sense they're not realizing they're letting go people who are making these. I mean, I think I said to you before we went on the air, I'm like,
how we're cutting loose people that made them.
Was it for somebody like William Regal?
Yeah.
Triple H too, I'm sure. But William Regal he's got the eye for talent. He knows who's talented, and he knows that part of it really well. And that's why he has been as good as it's been for much longer than AEW's even been on the air.
Mm-hmm. And let's put it this way. The other good thing is this. Rumor has it, Regal's already been in talks with Tony Khan.
Dun, dun, dun.
And if that's the case, expect to see a marked increase in how good the talent at AEW's working.
For sure. Because
he's going to tighten that shit up if he gets there.
For sure. And if anybody knows how to do it, it's him. And I mean, just first of all, I'll say it, fuck you, WWE, for doing that. I mean, you know what you've got. There's people there who know what they've got, and you're making this decision just to punish somebody else. It's like you're throwing talent away.
I know.
And for what?
Because
what are you getting in return?
Yeah, it's really, and I'll say it again, for me, it just, on the surface, like straight first impression, it just seems like somebody's insecure as fuck that his A and B shows aren't doing as good as his air quotes C show. And, well, get the fuck over it. If you've got something that's working, don't try to sabotage it because it's not your fucking baby. It's under the umbrella of your company. That means if it wins, you win.
Yeah. But
you can nurture it. and then see what they're doing right, and try to start taking some things from their formula and insert it into yours and see how you can improve.
Well, I think it was you who shared, it might have been on the post-to-post Facebook or whatever, about MLW suing WWE.
Oh, yes, I did share that, yes.
Yeah, and their underhanded tactics.
Yeah, for cock blocking them, basically.
Yeah, basically. It's like, how is a company supposed to grow?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you afraid of? Because, first of all, the best thing for business is competition.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, I don't understand that. I don't want WWE to go under.
No.
But I don't want any of them to go under.
I want competition, I want competition and lots of it so WWE gets better. They used to be so good.
The more wrestling, the better.
Yeah.
And this whole we're just going to do homegrown talent and say fuck guys from the indies. That's the biggest mistake right there, because, I mean, when these guys get let go by the company, how good are they going to do when they have to hit the indies?
Yeah, and look at it this way. It's like, rumor has it that WWE's high as fuck on the possibility of trying to, lure Wardlow away.
Oh, yeah.
They are hot on Wardlow.
Now, that's a good segue for this whole Wardlow versus CM Punk.
Oh, I know. It's like, that match, I enjoyed it. I did. And I saw a nice, and Weatherman shared a nice video, I'll have to forward it to you later, where you saw all the spots from basically the Bret Hart versus Diesel match that he took a lot of big spots from.
Right.
Like, he took the fucking straight up chest buckle shot, power bomb shots, and then the finish was the same, the roll up.
Right.
Now,
it's straight up inside cradle.
Yeah, one of the most devastating moves in wrestling.
Yeah, but Schoolboy. Apparently,
Schoolboy's a motherfucker.
No, the Carolina bad boy has kicked out of many schoolboys.
It doesn't work on me. I'm schoolboy proof. I didn't go to school. Lance Storm was interviewed about it, and he thinks it was a bad decision and that it kills Wardlow's heat and his push. And I can kind of see where he's coming from. I can. Because what it did is it reignited the flame of what's Wardlow going to do with MJF now. This is something we saw a long time ago. The first time MJF started, poking and pushing on Wardlow, and he started to get angry and buck up, and then MJF started flashing, contracts around.
Oh,
yeah. They're circling back to that, and
it's been a slow build.
It has. If you haven't followed it since the beginning, it's always been there. Just ever so slightly. They play it every now and then just to kind of see if you're paying attention. And it's starting to come back to the foray. And the worst part is, it's like, okay, MJF and Punk and their battle of the words has been great. But, as Lance Storm says, now that you see the legitimate fucking daggers and physical anger that Wardlow has towards MJF, that's the story you want to see now.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
It's basically made a lateral move. You went from one angle where everyone's wants to see CM Punk dog the shit out of MJF. Now they want to see Wardlow beat that turd.
Well, let's be honest. We've wanted to see that before CM Punk even debuted.
I agreed, but it's just now it's like they've invested all this time in the CM Punk MJF angle, but it's like they killed the momentum of it almost, or hamstrung it.
It killed. I'll agree with him that they definitely took a lot of heat off their angle.
Yeah,
but does it? I mean, Wardlow,
they hamstrung it. They didn't kill it.
The heat on Wardlow, fuck the heat on Wardlow. We all want to see Wardlow turn. We've been wanting to see it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So, it's like, I do see the point of view, taking the heat off the angle. Because, first of all, you just made CM Punk. I mean, granted, seeing Wardlow live, you were there. Holiday Bash. Wardlow's a big dude.
Yeah, it is.
he's not Sid Vicious big.
No, he can work.
You know what I mean? He's not Kevin Nash big.
No, he is
he's
big enough.
He's a solid big dude, but they put him over like he was a Kevin Nash or an Undertaker or somebody that where he's not hurt that easily.
He's like a Canyon big.
He is, but even Canyon sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not selling. I'm saying he's selling like
they're booking him bigger than he actually is.
Right. He's selling like he's bigger than he really is. In my opinion. And I like Wardlow. Like I like
War Dog.
I like that intensity. But I do think he sells like he's bigger than he really is. And I know WWE is interested in him. I did hear that. But why wouldn't they be? Because he works like a big man. But
exactly.
How's he going to look against some of those other guys who are pretty big already over there? I mean, granted, they got a nice roster now in WWE of different sized people. But, I mean, you know, I don't know how he's going to look up against, say, I don't know, the Celtic Warrior, you know?
he's going to be big, but he's not going to really size up Sheamus. Sheamus is
going to dwarf him. Drew McIntyre is going to dwarf him. You know what I mean? Like in AEW right now, besides Lance Archer, or
it's good to see Archer back, by the way.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that in a minute for sure. Because I was pretty happy about that. Because they finally put him in the position that he's made for.
Yeah.
Fucking Wardlow is. Yeah, he just works bigger than he is, I think. And people are going to say, "What are you talking about?" But I'm like, you just don't see him up against real big men yet, because they don't have the real big besides Lance and like what's his name? Inner Circle.
Hager.
I mean, who have they got?
They don't have any big dudes. They've got mid-size and
big guys.
The equivalent of junior heavyweights. Those
are the biggest guys they got.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they look bigger to a lot of the guys because now a lot of guys are my height. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus Christ, every time I see Adam Cole on TV, I'm like, don't tell me a short guy can't get over. Cause,
I mean, hell, I'm tall as or taller than most of their roster.
Exactly.
I mean...
But that's what they got.
Yeah.
And look at WWE, and Wardlow gets there. Wardlow can't be the beast he is because they have Brock.
Yeah, Wardlow, if there's a chance of success for him there, but if he went there, he's going to be lost in the shuffle.
He won't be able to work like Wardlow.
No, they're going to make him. They're going to try to make him work a different way, and it's just not going to work.
And so, what Wardlow's doing right now works for where he's at, and I would hope that he would not go there too early.
Oh wait, perfect segue.
Uh-oh.
We know about big dudes. Who's the biggest dude that just showed up?
Oh my God, Brody Lee! Jesus Christ!
Brody King,
not Brody Lee. My bad.
R.I.P. But anyway,
you know why I would say Brody Lee? Just Brody. Period.
Yeah.
But
I
Brody
wanted his ass to show up at fucking Holiday Bash so fucking bad. I could smell it. I could feel it. Taste it. But no.
He didn't show up in.
He goddamn fucking shows up this past Wednesday in fucking Raleigh.
Oh my God. That cannonball was so intense. Like, I remember telling you off there, I was like, I'm just going turn your head.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I called it from back over the summer when when fucking Malachi was working PWG shows with Brody. I was like, Brody's going to end up in AEW. And then when ROH folded, I was like, Brody's coming to AEW because he's going to join right up with Malachi Black. And what happened? He fucking did.
There's a big guy who's agile. There's a big guy who's intense. There's a big guy who's believable. You know, that's all the things I'm looking for when I see this shit.
Yeah,
you know?
and I love watching Brody King work because, I mean, he can do some weird agile shit, but he doesn't do too much. He plays that nice middle ground, kind of like Archer's finally starting to do. You know what I'm saying?
So happy about Archer. Like my wife was very upset because her two favorite AEW guys are Hangman Page and Lance Archer.
Oh, I don't even know where Archer's been. I guess. I mean,
he had the neck injury.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Forgot.
I want to think 5 months ago.
Yeah. I forgot what exactly.
He kind of landed on his head, and
yeah,
it was just a timing issue. But you know me, I hate to see guys that tall do moonsaults anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm glad you can do them, but there is that chance that shit like that'll happen,
Yeah.
But Lance don't need a moonsault for Christ.
No. It's just like me saying over and over, Layla Hirsch doesn't need a goddamn moonsault. Work on the fucking ground.
Nothing said that more than seeing her at that night against Chris Statlander.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it there live, and I was like, God almighty, Will is right.
I'm telling you.
There's another moonsault that she is just out of range for every time.
She's got the natural gift to fucking wrestle like a motherfucker.
Everything else she has, stop doing that moonsault. Everything that you have got, the intensity, the legitimacy of being a bad ass, and just don't do that moonsault anymore.
Yeah, fuck that thing. You don't need it. This right here, this is kind of what the show's all about: speculation and fun, and little personal, like, marking out and fantasy what you want to see happen. All right, things I want to see happen. 1, I want to see Jonathan Gresham come to AEW and sign a contract.
Right. Okay.
2, I want him to form a faction with Bryan Danielson. 3, I want Layla Hirsch to join that faction.
Now that would be interesting.
Because that right there is the nastiest, and you can book it, pure wrestling crew you could get.
You know, one guy I would like to see with that?
Who?
Chad Gable. Chad is God mighty. When it comes to just in-ring work and his style, great. Yep. Everything else is kind of subpar, but his in-ring work, out of this world, he's legitimate. But a lot of the times, unless you're a Kurt Angle, how many times have the legitimate,
amateur wrestler
does that gimmick work? I mean, Mike Rotunda did it for how long?
So long when he was the fucking what was it, the
Varsity Club?
Yeah, the Varsity Club. That's what it was.
The only person who wasn't like a varsity type person was Kevin Sullivan, who was just wearing a leather jacket for the gimmick. But then you had like Mike Rotunda, Rick Steiner, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. These all were legitimate athletes.
Yeah, I mean, but think of this. Like, think of how good it would be to have those three just challenge people, like, all the time. Work an angle to where they're trying to, and this would bring in the Cornette style folk to watch the show. Have them buck against the mud show indie style that's popular inside of AEW. And just stomp mud holes in people's asses.
First of all, Bryan Danielson has brought me some of my favorite AEW matches already.
He has. It's crazy how good
his intensity.
Him legitimately kicking the fucking cap off of fucking Colt Cabana's tooth.
Right. And he picks it up during the fucking shit and shows it to the camera.
I know.
I was like, yes. Part of me's like, oh shit. But at the same time, like, oh yeah, that works. That's smart to do that, because I'm sure at first he was like, oh shit. But then, like, the worker in him hit, and he was like, oh, I'm going to pick this up and show it to camera.
I know. It's good stuff. I really think that would work, because honestly, like, that dude, God. First time I ever saw him wrestle was with fucking Best of Super Juniors at New Japan.
All right.
And I was like, holy shit. Fucking love it.
Well, it's like that mix between strong style and just legitimate amateur wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's what I like about Minoru Suzuki.
Right.
And Zack Sabre Jr.
It looks snug, because it is snug.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's like, I mean, if you want to talk about it, it's like back in the day, there were so many actual shooters in wrestling, like your Lou Theszes and shit
They give the look of being shooters without shooting.
Right. But if they didn't want you to take that title that night, they weren't going to drop it. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They had the legitimacy to back their shit up.
Exactly.
And that's something that this generation lacks. So when you see actual dudes like that can actually do that, it's impressive. You know?
For sure. Now, other fantasy things. One of our favorite people in the world has been talking about his fantasies of where he wants to work.
Uh-oh. Who is that?
Why, that's Donovan Danhausen.
Ooh.
Or just regular Danhausen. Let's not use that.
You called him by his Christian name.
I called him by his pre-face paint name.
Talk about a guy who had a really intense style in the early days.
Yeah, it's like, you know he can work intense. And, like, if you watch Danhausen work, you know he can fucking go. But, like, he's realized, I guess, early on, I don't need to go that hard all the time. I can have some fun with it to add to longevity.
At a point in his career where he doesn't have to, and he ends up breaking his leg anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Like, think about that, people. When you want to get into pro wrestling, it's not ballet. Shit can happen. You know? Yeah,
but what it was is Danhausen was interviewed recently, and he was talking about where he would like to work. And pretty much consensus is what we thought. He wants to work at AEW because there are tons of people in AEW that he's worked with in the past. And, you know, short and long of it is like, let's see, he wants to work with Pepsi Man again. He wants to team with him. He wants to be the Sting to Pepsi Man's Darby Allin.
Punk.
He wants to try to team with MJF or punch him in the groin. If he tries to betray Danhausen, as it says. Apparently, Danhausen has unfinished business with Cody Rhodes from a few years back.
Ooh, did not know that. Yeah, I know him and Orange had a nice little match.
Mm-hmm. And they had a tag team for a while.
And a tag team, yes.
Yeah. He likes the Dark Order because they seem pretty evil. He likes Britt Baker because she deals with teeth. Yeah.
Did I tell you about how people have hired him on Cameo to send cameos to Jim Cornette?
God, I bet Jim Cornette fucking hates that.
Jim loves him.
Really?
Doesn't want to watch a match, though, because he's like, I'm sure he's wrestled the Invisible Man or done something stupid. So
I haven't seen Danhausen do
I don't want to see that. But he was like, as far as like his character and putting on the voice and like he talks about the teeth not being illegal when he comes with a jar of teeth or whatever. He's like,
because everyone's got teeth in their head.
Everybody's got teeth in their head. Like Jim Cornette was like, well, he's not wrong.
I know. And then
so it's like if Jim Cornette even sees something in Danhausen, that means a lot to old school fans.
Oh, I know. It's like I want.
There's a method to everything he's doing, and he is like he's definitely when he's that character, he's that character.
Yeah, he's figured something out, and he's committed to it, and it's been mad successful. And I want to see how it works if he were to get picked up by AEW. And I swear to God, I kick myself in the nuts every day because I can't fucking remember I had figured out in my head one day the perfect way to bring him in to keep his momentum going without fucking dialing back the comedy or anything like that, but also making it where the comedy didn't come off as just silly and stupid with the way AEW's working things. And I can't fucking remember it at all. I feel like this is like the fourth fucking episode where I've mentioned this, but I mean, shit, it makes me physically angry that I cannot remember this because I want to share it with everyone. I can't fucking
go back and find it.
It was either on an episode or it was just something I thought up one day and didn't write down. And I've been trying my damnedest to remember, and I cannot. And it sucks. Some other big news, even though it's with GCW, AEW's second ever champ, Jon Moxley, his big return is here in a couple weeks at GCW's next show, going up against Homicide, I believe, for their title belt.
Nice.
If I'm remembering correctly. And speaking of people going up against things, and someone we've already talked about before, Jonathan Gresham has signed a match against Santana at a Terminus wrestling event coming up pretty soon. I feel like is Terminus? I think Terminus is the company that Jonathan Gresham runs.
Oh, okay.
So most likely Santana's not going to win, but I like the idea of it. I do enjoy seeing AEW share their talent with other places. And
contrasting styles too.
Oh, goddamn. You're going to have that raw, hard-hitting style that still has a little finesse to it. And then Gresham, who is just, he can beat you. Goddamn, he's a modern Dean Malenko.
Well, I mean, Santana's style is like, he's a thug. Like, he's just kind of a brute thug sometimes, but
he's got finesse.
And do a few moves that you're not expecting.
Yeah. And then like you said, Gresham is a new Dean Malenko.
It's just a shooter type, yeah.
He's a new Dean Malenko.
Yep. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the styles work together. I say contrasting because they both definitely have two different styles of pro wrestling.
Yeah, it's going to be an odd one.
Necessarily a bad thing.
No.
That could work, and I think it's going to work because I respect both people. So
I think this will be a good spot to finish off with. AEW will cut some of the other ideas I had out. Do you think the current Cody Rhodes being a free agent thing is leaning into his current story arc and gimmick?
Oh, of course.
All right.
I think so. I mean, why not? But I mean, like when I first heard it, I was like, look, Ric Flair was WWF champion on a handshake. He didn't even have a contract in 92. You know what I mean? 92, I think it was 92, 93.
I think it's something like 93.
I can see it happening, but I'm sure it's all part of what's to come.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not, for Christ's sakes, Cody's smart enough to do that. And Tony do,
Cody, the way it is with Cody.
Make it seem more legitimate than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe we'll see a different Cody or less of Cody. I don't know, because my whole thing is we need to push him towards being a heel anyway.
Yeah, agreed. And he truly, what he's doing right now is playing the double negative. He's being good on top of good.
Right.
Which in turn is pissing people off, so it's making him a heel without being a heel.
Right.
So
he's too goody two shoes of a babyface. It's kind of like that John Cena effect when everybody's like, pushing John Cena down our throats. And he's like, I'm all American, I'm the Marine, even though I just played one in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to salute you every time I fucking walk in. It's like, oh, God, not again. But at the same time, John was having, I think that blinded people that, John was actually really working his ass off.
Yeah. It's like I've grown to enjoy John Cena over the years.
Yeah, I didn't at one time. I was very much one of those people who didn't. And I was like, God.
And honestly, look at it.
He really worked his ass off.
He's truly found his calling in acting
now. Yeah.
Because have you seen goddamn Peacemaker?
He's killing it.
Have you watched Peacemaker yet?
I have not yet. It's on my to-do list. I did see that Suicide Squad movie.
I watched all 3 episodes of Peacemaker that were out so far last night. Chef kiss. I'm telling you.
Nice. I mean, I thought he killed it in Suicide Squad. I very much enjoyed that movie.
Now, I'm not going to lie.
The first Suicide Squad, not so much, but this one I really enjoyed.
I'm not gonna lie, he's so fucking jacked. Those veins running down his arms creep me out. Because they're weird, snaky, you know? And you see them a lot.
John is just great. Like, John is so good. He's got the right charisma and delivery. Besides, honestly, out of the wrestling business, to become legitimately good actors, him and The Rock really are the only two.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
I mean, Hulk tried, didn't work.
Yeah, and we all know that Roddy tried too, but Roddy did the one thing that's even harder to do.
I mean, he did They Live, and it was great. Roddy had, and don't get me wrong, I liked his spots in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia too.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it this way. The way with Roddy is he became like the I'm famous cult actor. He went the Bruce Campbell route.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like he did the hardest version. He struck gold laterally.
Yeah, I get that. I get that comparison to Bruce Campbell. That's a pretty good comparison.
Mm-hmm. He did the lateral striking of gold with acting.
Right.
He was good. He was just in things that were either ahead of their time or so fucking campy people just didn't really jive on it until later on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But really and truly, the only, John Cena and The Rock are the only two I know that come out of pro wrestling that have a wide range of, an audience outside of pro wrestling.
Exactly. Circling it back, I feel like we said, Cody is working so goody, it makes him a heel. And then this right here almost seems like a way for him to push that even further by also playing in the fact that everyone thinks he's spending too much time doing his other shows. So he's holding out on signing his contract because he's too famous from Go Big Show and his reality show.
They're smart enough to work on it too, you know?
Yeah. So that right there is Cody, people may say you're pretty vanilla and boring in the ring and mediocre, while yes, some of your matches are pretty lame as of late because they run the same formula 9 times out of 10.
Well, if you have, I'm so tired. The only thing that kills me, because honestly, him and Sammy Guevara put on a great match.
Yeah.
But what I get tired of is your finisher should be your finisher.
Yeah.
And if I see 3 crossroads in a match, I'm like, Jesus.
Unless you...
That's not your finish. If you can't finish him once, maybe twice, you have to do it 3 times, that's overkill.
Unless that is your turn. Yeah. And you're just doing it to fucking spike them to death and hurt them.
Right.
That's the only reason you have to fucking throw that thing 1,000 times.
Going back to the Wardlow thing, the fucking Powerbomb Symphony.
I like the name that they did, and I really enjoyed that fucking promo package they put together for it with the orchestra. I was like, oh, perfect.
But that CM Punk match was overkill.
Mm-hmm.
To go back to that shit. And it's it goes back to what I think I said once before. It's to me, out of all, between Punk, Danielson, and Adam Cole, I think Adam Cole's the most over out of all of them right now. For just personality wise, I think the crowd is more into him when he comes out. Bryan Danielson is just getting that respect feel. You know what I mean? We know we're going to get a good match with him.
Yeah.
Whether he was there, he's already been here how long? He's already been babyface and heel. And he's good at both. We know we're going to get a good match each time. We're going to get the best out of whoever he's working. I mean, that's the best we got out of Adam Page besides Kenny Omega. Just solid, good fucking matches. Those were the best 2 Adam Page matches. Well, 3, actually, if you count both Bryan Danielson matches.
Yeah.
Holy God. That's the best I've ever seen Adam Page.
I know. It's that's the thing. Adam Page is still really young.
He is, and he's good. I have nothing but good things to say about Adam Page. But he's not peaked yet.
No, he really hasn't. He's got a He's got a long way to go and a lot that he can do to improve.
But I mean, he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal talent. But like, it just showed how good he is with those matches with Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. Like, those Bryan Danielson matches, man, look great. Both of them. I was very, very excited watching both of them. I was like, man, these are solid, good, snug, fucking kind of matches. And, you know, Adam Cole come out looking like $1 million. And, I mean, Bryan Danielson, man, he sold that fucking, that buckshot lariat.
Yeah, he did.
No one else. Boom. When he got hit in that second match with it, I was like, boom. And then took the clean finish. I was like, he put him over like $1 million right there.
I know. It was great.
Fuck, I forgot where we segued to fucking Adam Page.
It's one of those things. It's just like it naturally happened, and then we got fucking lost in the weeds. But you know what?
Oh wait, Wardlow.
Symphony. There was yes.
Anyways, like CM Punk, you know, I was talking about just being over and shit. Adam Cole, I think, is over more than any of them. I mean, like we were saying before, putting over Wardlow like bigger than he is.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. I mean, he's definitely bigger than Punk. But the whole idea that you got powerbombed 7 times and then you hit a inside cradle for the win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little overboard.
We've already said our piece on this one.
Right.
It's just like I want to see Punk. Let's end it at this. I want to see Punk put on some more memorable matches. We know he's got it. I was like, Jesus Christ, you've got Danielson there. Him and Danielson would have a great fucking... Exactly. I think they're keeping that one under their hat.
They have to be. They have to be. There's no reason to not do that, man.
They're saving that for something big.
They have to be. Because right now, I mean, like, nothing against Lee Moriarty. I think Lee's a good talent. And I think he puts on some solid work. But they have like CM Punk versus Lee Moriarty. And no offense, Lee Moriarty looked really good against CM Punk. So I'm like, okay, I get trying to push a talent, but I don't think you should push a talent with CM Punk yet.
No, but at the same time, if you're going to make him look good...
The timing is just wrong.
Yeah, like, it's the wrong time to have him.
First of all, Moriarty is too... Moriarty, and this is not... I'm not shaming him by any means.
No.
He's lower on the card than a lot of other people.
Exactly.
But Moriarty has really good, like, his repertoire has a lot of good offense.
Yeah, he does.
So he's going to look like he's always getting a better Punk through that whole match.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Punk comes out on top. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you put over Moriarty strong, we're going to have to put him in a different position. Mm-hmm. And they really haven't done that. And I'm like, did he kind of deserve it after that? You know, after that performance with Punk? Because if this guy is, quote unquote, the best in the world, that should enhance any talent who looks good against him. I just think, personally.
It's true. It's true. Let's go ahead, because one of the other big things, and this is one episode, or an episode related to last year, that I think is going to tie in nicely, because last year we did the big Hard to Kill focused episode, because last year Hard to Kill, segueing over to Impact, was the official real opening of the Forbidden Door, because you had Kenny get that belt.
Yeah.
Those belts, rather. And this year there was a lot of Forbidden Door shit going on. Mostly with ROH.
Yeah, a lot of Ring of Honor talent.
To touch on some major things, the first ever women's X Division Championship match.
Yep.
To decide that. Tasha Steelz won. She beat everyone else. I would have rather seen like Rosemary or even Chelsea Green win that. But
right.
I kind of think I'd see where they're going for it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit out high notes and mostly just talk about some of the matches that I was most interested in. So, one of my favorite matches from last week during Hard to Kill was the X Division Championship match, Trey Miguel and Steve Macklin. Because I don't know if you've watched this.
Watched it, yeah.
I fucking love watching Trey Miguel.
I mean, I've seen some. I've subscribed to Impact on YouTube, so I see highlights of shit. But I haven't seriously sit down and watch the whole match.
Let's just say that Macklin dogged the fucking shit out of Miguel for most of this match, because Macklin doesn't look like someone. Because let's put it this way: the X division is almost the equivalent of the cruiserweights.
Oh yeah, it's got that. I mean, it already kind of had that feel, but it's like now today, like we talked about earlier about the size of people.
Yeah, Macklin kind of has that almost. He's big, but he's not big. But when you see him paired up against Trey Miguel,
X division, he's a big guy.
Yeah, for the X division, he's gigantic.
Yeah.
And he was just crushing Miguel. And then Miguel started working slightly different, going a little more, tactical.
Right.
And he started to get the upper hand. I mean, it was never fully clear, but, I mean, one of the nastiest things fucking Macklin did is he had Miguel sitting in the corner almost, and then he fucking did his move, the crosshairs. He speared him through the ropes.
Ooh.
Like the bottom rope, and like folded Miguel in half. And like the only thing, like, and he, if I remember right, he was upside down. But folded him in half. The only thing that kept them both from going out is because Miguel's like legs kept like hung on one of the ropes, so it kept them both from spilling to the floor. But it was fucking mean as shit. And then Miguel started turning things around. He caught fucking Macklin with a Meteora in the ring. Macklin kicked out. But then he did another Meteora. He did a Meteora out from off the top turnbuckle to the fucking floor.
Jesus.
Macklin hits his head on the fucking guardrail.
Damn.
But caught him with that, rolled him in the ring, tried to pin him, kicks out, fucking works on him some more, and then delivered a second Meteor off the ropes to get the win.
Man.
It was just really good, because Miguel, if you watch him do shit, like, he went up against goddamn Eddie Edwards in a hardcore match a while back. Like, this is last year sometime, maybe year before. And those two... No, was it Eddie Edwards? No, it might have been the other one. Sammy Callahan.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sammy. We could go on about Sammy for a while.
But those two put on a nasty fucking hardcore match.
I mean, he has his... I mean, I'm not saying Sammy's not good at some stuff, but talking about Eddie Edwards, when he smashed Eddie in the face that one time, and first of all, it was the smallest chair they could have found. And I mean, I don't know whose idea this was, but when Sammy smashed Eddie in the face, I was mortified. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And no offense, both of those guys should have known that wasn't going to work.
No.
If he'd have had a normal size middle chair, it would have been not a problem.
Yes.
And I don't know whose idea it was for that or whatever, but I don't know that it was any of the workers' fault whatsoever. It was whatever was set up for the match, but still, it makes me cringe to this day seeing that. And I part of me has never looked at Sammy Callahan the same since, because I just wouldn't even have done it. I'd have done it differently or something. You know, I'd have called an audible, because I'm like, I will kill you. And Sammy about did. I mean, he smashed Eddie's face bad. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I know of it, but I didn't see it.
I urge you to look that up.
I will. Now, the next big match of the night for me, it's almost like 3 back-to-back-to-back are the best matches of the night. And these are all earlier in the card. And then after that, I feel like they start going downhill.
The later, getting closer to the main event is worse. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Huh.
Overall, it was still a decent show, but they leaned a little too hard on one type of angle for their match layouts, and it started to fuck with them. But the earlier matches were the best. So the next match, which to me is probably, for me, the match I enjoyed the most of the night. Jonathan Gresham versus Chris Sabin for the ROH World Championship Pure Wrestling Rules.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was so good. So good.
That up.
So good, man.
I've not kept up with Impact besides what I see on YouTube. And
I try to catch their bigger shows.
Right.
And just I read up enough to where I can kind of pick up on most of the angles that are happening.
The problem is, it's not that they don't have the talent. They have very good, solid fucking talent.
Mm-hmm. But
who's watching?
I'm only hitting some of the bigger shows, sadly.
Right, exactly. You're watching the big show. You know, they have television, but nobody watches that channel.
Yeah.
So how is your talent going to get seen besides the internet? You know, you don't have a broader audience for your talent. And I mean, you know, I like Jordynne Grace. I'll always be a Jordynne Grace fan. She is something else. She's muscular as shit.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of women that look like her.
No.
And she does some decent shit. I'm not saying she's like one of the greatest workers in the world. She's a decent worker.
Yeah.
She's a good worker.
Let's see. So first thing, big thing about it. As you know, Stryker was let go. So a while back from the commentary scene. So it's D'Lo and Bobby Cruz.
Interesting. They got D'Lo out there.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while now. But they got fucking Riccaboni from Ring of Honor to help call the match.
That shows you I hadn't watched it at all. I didn't know D'Lo was doing commentary.
D'Lo's been doing it for a little while now. This match worked really, really well because they played it off like legitimate work.
Uh-huh.
They played off the fact that before Sabin left Ring of Honor to come to Impact, he was owed a title shot. So they played into the fact that he's been waiting for this title shot for like 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So he's like next in line. So Gresham worked his left arm this entire fucking match.
Really?
Just worked the shit out of it. And like
he went like Anderson 2.0, huh?
Yeah, they were working the fuck out of that arm. And both of them were burning like rope breaks. I think Gresham burnt like 2 rope breaks, and then Sabin burnt 1. Sabin finally turned the tides and had him dead to rights. He hit him with the cradle shock, pinned him. The ref counted 3, but as he counted 3, he saw that due to the position, Gresham's foot was under the ropes, which gave Gresham his 2nd rope break.
Oh, wow.
And like Sabin had already rolled away, and he was like celebrating that he thought he had won, but then the ref's like, nah, man, clean break, and everyone's like, holy shit, that was a good call by the ref. And I was like, I liked it. That right there.
I gotta go back and watch this.
And then, you know, things kept going, and then they just started fucking trading chops. Like they were grabbed onto each other's arms and just one hand, like trading chops and like overhand, knife edge, you know, just trading it. And then just a slew of pins and reversals, and then Gresham gets the upper hand with a nice fucking like reversal and bridge, and just gets a fucking like sneaky like skill pin for the win.
Nice.
It was a great fucking match. I loved it.
Yeah, I like Sabin too. So I've been a fan of Sabin for like 10 years now or more. So at least, especially when him and Alex Shelley, you know, were the Motor City Machine Guns.
Now, speaking of talent, even though it's not the 2005 talent, which, I mean, we don't even need to mention, who's listening to this already fucking knows, but current talent, Josh Alexander. Dude's great. He had the next match on the card going up against the former Bronson Reed, wrestling under the name Jonah.
Jonah, yeah.
Oh, Jonah had this match pretty solid wrapped up. And then that classic urge of adrenaline / complete turnaround that we all know and love.
Right.
Fucking Alexander turned it around and fucking got him. Got him. Like, German suplexed him. He powerbombed him. And then he locked him in the ankle lock for the win.
I'm always watching this pay-per-view because I've seen just some highlights, but what you've told me ain't nothing that I've seen, and I've been like, holy shit, I should have seen that.
It was so good. So good. I like those 3 matches right there for me were the best. Now, sadly, here's where it starts to go downhill.
Okay.
Hardcore War. You have the Good Brothers and Violent by Design in a kind of battle royale style entry hardcore match where one member of each team comes in every so often.
Oh man.
And it's just like a hardcore match, and then once everyone's in there, whoever gets the pin, that team wins.
Right.
So, started off, the usual ways. The first 2 come in, they're throwing hands, etc. Some of the plunder starts to come out, etc., etc. And then, it just gets to be too much. I mean, Willie Mack comes in with a fucking axe handle, and then Hannafan on commentary asked, when did this become Anchorman 2? Like, that's beautiful commentary. I loved it.
Nice comment.
I'm just like, God damn. It just, everyone was fucking getting color. It felt like it was just.
It's basically this generation's version of a bunkhouse brawl.
Yeah, kind of. And well,
I mean,
it's
just an anything goes type.
Yeah, the face is one. I don't want to really go over the whole thing because, goddamn,
I do love the Good Brothers, though.
I do.
I'm always going to love the Good Brothers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to see some good. Well, I'm always going to call it the gun stun, even though it's the stun gun. It's the gun stun when fucking Tamatanga does it.
Right.
It's the stun gun when Carl Anderson does it.
Yeah.
But anywho, we saw that. But the team of Rhino, Heath Slater, Rich Swann, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards wins. This is the big crossover. This is the one where Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Vincent, and PCO rush the ring and stomp the shit out.
I saw that.
And Maria Kanellis too. Like, I thought she was going to do something because she rolled out in that studded fucking jacket. I thought, is she wearing like a Darby Allin style fucking thumbtack jacket? Because I was expecting something to go down with that. But it didn't. But PCO doing that fucking swanton to the apron.
I know, right? Like,
fuck! I swear to God, that dude is made of nothing but scar tissue, so he can feel no pain.
He's got to be. I remember talking to you, too, about him before the show, because I was like, nothing against his work, because I like his style of work, but sometimes they put him up against, like, modern talent. He looks super slow.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I mean, the gimmick, it just works, I think he's just a step behind because I think he's a more old school worker like I am. I wouldn't be as fast as some of these guys myself. And you've seen me work, so I have a certain style. But I think PCO is one of those guys too who's got a certain style. But I mean, he's at least an outside the box kind of thinker. So
yes,
not to hit that cliche, but I mean, he really. I mean, he's got an interesting gimmick. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he can do the shit. You know.
He can go. And honestly, like his tag team.
I'm not saying he can't go. He looks like, I think he would have made a lot more money 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He just has a certain style that, even though he does incorporate a lot of newer types of shit, but just looking at him, he looks like he could have wrestled 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He just has that look to him. And Yeah, when I saw him, I was like, holy shit, what's going on? PCO is out here. And they just cleaned the house. Clean fucking house. Man.
They cleaned it.
They're putting that talent over because, I mean, I guess until Ring of Honor does have a show again, if they have a show again.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, I mean, Scott D'Amore put it over for sure. Like his after segment, he was like, I didn't have any knowledge that they were going to do that, but I'm going to fucking call Baltimore, and that basically, like, it's a nice little addition to the story.
Yeah, and I mean, well, the Ring of Honor title's getting defended on what show was it?
I forgot the name of it recently. Are we talking about Gresham and Santana's thing?
Was that the title? I can't remember. I thought there was a title. I thought the Ring of Honor title got.
The women's title changed hands
just
this past week, I think, on like a regular Impact taping.
Okay. I just think it's just, it's like it's still considered a legitimate title and there's no show right now,
Yeah.
Something is coming.
Honestly, like, Ring of Honor has that traveling NWA feel right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I like it. Next match was decent. Matt Cardona, Moose, and W. Morrissey for the Impact World Championship.
I'd say there was a lot of catchphrases throughout this match.
There are a lot of, like...
Cardona's completely... Like, his persona on the indies right now, I don't blame him for doing what he does, especially when he hit GCW and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Cardona's the best he's been in a long time. Right
now. Yeah. When I think of him too, I still think of Zack Ryder and Woo Woo Woo.
Yeah, and the internet champion and all that bullshit.
Right, yeah, all that bullshit. And I mean, granted, that a lot of that come from his own shit.
Well, let's put it this way: the moment of this match was Chelsea Green splashing Moose from the entryway.
What?
Yeah, she did a crossbody on Moose.
Wow.
From the upper part of the entryway, where they've got those side entrances that go across the upper deck and then down the ramp. She dove off of that, crossbody Moose to the ground in the crowd.
Moose, a big old boy, man.
Yeah, he is.
His Ring of Honor. I remember watching him in Ring of Honor. And he was over then.
I'd take that crossbody.
Right. Hardcore.
But all things considered, it's like they definitely played up the angles. You knew Cardona wasn't going to get it. They kind of played this as a way to really like boost Morrissey a bit more, and like kind of give him that chip on his shoulder. I mean, you saw Cardona hit radio silence a few times. Morrissey got rid of him with some power bombs, and then, well, honestly, like they knocked out the ref one time. Like, they didn't have a ref for a hot minute. They had to get a substitute ref.
Oh, shit.
And then they knocked his ass out with the, like, Moose, like, power bombed.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Moose, like, fucking power bombed. He power bombed Cardona into both Green and the replacement referee.
Oh, wow.
And then went for the pin, and then the old referee came in and did the count.
Oh, wow.
So there was a lot of back and forth. A lot of back and forth.
A lot of gaga, as they say.
Yeah, Moose won. It was decent. The next one was good, but at the same time, if you've got one hardcore match on the card, you don't need a fucking second one.
Right.
And this is what this was. It was a Texas death match for the Knockouts title, Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo.
I did see the highlights from this.
I have not seen two people take more fucking spills into the tacks during a match than this one.
I saw a lot of middle fingers and a lot of...
I saw a lot of Mickie James pulling tacks out of the palm of her hand and her fingers.
I saw that as well.
And I was like, good on you. But no. Yeah. But
Jesus.
The fact that they did 2 hardcore matches in one show is kind of what soured me on this pay-per-view. Honestly, I could have sworn there was a third one, but no, maybe that was just me thinking there's been way too much color in this pay-per-view because there has been a lot of color across all the matches.
Right.
And then that just kind of bled into me thinking there were 3.
Well, that sort of kills the color anyway when everybody does it, you know what I mean?
Now, was it a bad match? Fuck no. Both of them did great. You really thought like Purrazzo was going to win for a little while, but she did. Everything was good. It played out very nicely, and it really, really made me because I thought this was going to be, since they announced her going to the Rumble, and they even mentioned the Rumble in commentary. They were like, Mickie James is going to be in the Royal Rumble match. And I fucking cannot stand them calling it that. I know what it is. I do. I'll say it every year we talk about the Royal Rumble. I know what the Royal Rumble is. There are 2 Royal Rumbles. There's the men's and the women's. We don't have to add match. I'm not a fucking idiot. I know how to differentiate a pay-per-view from a match inside of it. You don't have to say match for me to know that she's going to be in the Royal Rumble, air quotes, match.
Right.
You don't have to. It's common fucking sense. And it works 2 ways. She's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Of course she is. Because she's going to be in the Royal Rumble pay-per-view and in the Royal Rumble. Do I need to call the Royal Rumble match? No. No, I don't. But it was cool to hear them talk about that. And then this right here leads to, this is kind of the biggest thing to happen in a long time. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean,
it's real, real weird. Because I never in a million years would have thought that WWE was going to let someone who's a champion in another company come in and work the Royal Rumble.
Well,
they haven't done that shit in what?
Well, I mean,
fucking 25, 30 years?
Usually not from another company that's, like, over the years, like Michinoku Pro or ECW or...
Well, honestly, they owned ECW the time they did that, so that
really count. Well, yeah. But ECW was the first company I remember them cross-promotionally doing anything with on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, Vince knew he was getting homegrown talent from ECW.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know whether they're doing it just because they're throwing a bone to Mickie since they let her go.
Well, they really shitted on Mickie, and Mickie deserves better, and maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Trying to mend fences there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that whole her receiving her shit in a trash bag thing really went viral.
Yeah, that could be what it is. I really think it's just a way to save face as opposed to acknowledgement of other companies existing and trying to work in a symbiotic fashion.
Usually, Vince is not a big fan of cross-promotional anything. I mean, every once in a while, you would see Vince show up on an indie show if it was a big deal for some reason. Because you can find some shit on YouTube, like Vince even shows up at an indie show. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And but overall, he didn't really believe it. Like, people wanted to go to Japan and shit, he wouldn't let them go to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're an independent contractor, is what I was thinking of earlier.
Yes.
Technically, all of their talent are independent contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they can't work for anybody but one company.
Yep.
If you're an independent contractor, what sense does that make? So, just odd shit.
Yeah. I hope that they don't shit on her. I really do.
So too.
I mean, we know for a fact that she's never going to win.
No. No.
Now, if
it's not about her winning, it's about her just
being there.
Being there. Yeah.
If they really wanted to fucking get some fucking eyes on the product again, think of how smart it would be to actually let her win it.
Maybe
it would blow the fucking doors off of shit. People were like, we never would have expected this in a million years.
But I'm sure to a certain level, some people don't even want this.
No, there's probably a lot of people that don't. I think it's, honestly, it's part of me feels like it's sort of an empty gesture, and the other part of me is like, okay, that's cool. You're owning up to being fuckheads.
We're wrestling fans, so that's what we want deep down as a wrestling fan. But when it comes to like sheer shrewd business, we don't see it that way, and they do, and that's what's always going to separate it. And if you're that shrewd of a business person that you can't see that there are opportunities to do this and to reach a broader audience, even then, I mean, my God, can you imagine? I mean, so much of this shit. I mean, rarely have we ever seen like other championships on that show, because Vince doesn't want anything but his own thing. It's a WWE universe. So this is odd. And like I done read, like Nikki plans on like carrying the belt out, you know, but whether or not they describe her as the Impact champion or not, who knows?
Yeah, I hope she carries that belt to the fucking ring, because I mean that'll be the perfect like kick in the dick to them for the trash bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some fucking heat.
Get some heat. And I mean, heat's good for the wrestling business. Fuck. It just gets people talking. And Vince McMahon knows how to get heat. I mean, he's not dumb. He hadn't made it this far because he's dumb. You know? So you would think you would want to get legit shit.
Yeah, no doubt. But let's say this. Royal Rumble. Honestly, I look forward to this year's Rumble more than I've looked forward to some of the others.
Oh, I definitely am going to watch the Rumble this year. I've got to. Because of Mickey being there. And I'm happy because I've always been a fan of Mickey since back in the day. I've always thought she's a good worker.
Do I think they're going to do any fancy, cool reveals? No, they're not going to bring any fucking dark horses in. They're going to bring in some fucking old hats from back in the day, probably, because if they've been releasing all this new talent they've recently signed, I highly doubt they're going to bring any, like, you know, darlings of the indies in like they have in the past. No. It's going to be like the Royal Rumble. What they're going to do, I guarantee you, Braun Breaker is going to be in it, and they're going to push the shit out of him in that.
Well,
but
I agree with Ric Flair. I'm like, if I was Vince McMahon, I would personally groom that guy to be my next heavyweight champion in the next few years.
Yeah.
Not now at all. No.
They're going to make him look
I've
good.
not seen the guy cut a promo good. So, can he talk? We don't really know. I mean, he might be NXT champion, but to be on the big level, and, you know, there's a lot of more acting and shit to do and that stuff. So
we'll see.
Where's he going to be there? But as far as like the in-ring work, he looks great. Looks great as a beast, but he's got so much room to grow. Yeah,
in a couple weeks we'll know.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's wrap everything up now.
All right,
with a trip to Japan. I know week before last, I talked about day one of Wrestle Kingdom because it recorded right after it fucking happened. I was able to talk about it fresh. Well, you know how it goes. The next day was Wrestle Kingdom 2. We wouldn't record for another till now, so week and a half. Here we are. So if you've seen Wrestle Kingdom or not, here you go. So Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. Let's just say started off the usual ways. You had your exhibition tag matches starting up. You know, not going to worry about going into those. But the first big match of the main card, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, Team Flying Tiger, the current champions, Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask.
Right.
Going up against the mega coaches, Rocky Romero and Taguchi, and Bullet Club's El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori.
Oh, nice.
Well, I will tell you this. If Chris Jericho ever thought that his light-up jacket was the best light-up jacket ever, he got fucking dogged by El Phantasmo's light-up jacket.
Really?
Fucking shit was lit up, and it had a scrolling LED text bar running across the shoulders that said, Robbie Eagles sucks.
That's nice.
I was like, God damn, I love El Phantasmo. He's just like, he's got the best like petulant heel style. It's beautiful.
Right.
And, well, we all know, if you've watched anything over the past, feels like a year even, El Phantasmo's had that magical kick as of late.
Right.
You'll see him kind of shift that boot around, stomp the heel a little bit. You know, he said he trained at kicking trees in British Columbia.
Right.
Everyone's been like, nah, that's a loaded boot. Well, at the beginning of the match, he fucking cold cocks Tiger Mask with one of these kicks. Tiger Mask isn't in the match for almost the entire fucking thing. And it is pretty much Robbie Eagles going against fucking everybody.
Nice.
For the longest time. And then, well, a little while in, El Phantasmo starts trying to do this shit again. And, like, he winds up accidentally kicking Ishimori out of the ring with the loaded boot. And in doing that, everyone spins around and pins him to the ground and peels his shoe off. And they get the, like, loaded, like, little
loaded
lead weight,
boot.
whatever the fuck it is. You know, it just, honestly, it looks like silver duct tape wrapped around something. You know how
right.
objects are. They get it, they show it to the ref. The ref disqualifies the Bullet Club team. And all of, like, the young boys' ring hands physically carry El Phantasmo away from the ring with him kicking and screaming. Like, he is not on the ground. He has, like, 6 people carrying him away from the ring. Escorting him out. And the match continues from there, ultimately leading to Team Flying Tiger retaining their championships.
Right.
But the infamous loaded boot of El Phantasmo, the story has come to an end. Following that, you had a nice little exhibition by Stardom in the middle of the card, which I thought was odd. Usually that's one of their opener things as of late. But no, they gave Stardom a main slot right after the first main card match. So that was kind of cool. But then, the biggest match, and the one that made John the happiest of all, you had the King of Pro Wrestling Championship decider. The 4-man match between Minoru Suzuki, Toru Yano,
Fuck Yano!
Sema, and Chase Owens.
Nice. It was a barn burner.
It was pretty good. And exactly who you thought was going to win with this lineup won.
Definitely wasn't Yano.
Nope. For once.
I haven't been keeping up, so I can't say what I know everybody's momentum, but I would go Suzuki.
You were correct. Suzuki is the king of pro wrestling.
Well, I mean, he's just, he's over as shit. So, out of all of them, I was like, well, it definitely isn't Yano.
Yeah, the beauty of this is much like we saw with Yano in his 2 years of carrying this little trophy. The champion, whenever he defends it, gets to pick all of the match stipulations. So we know that Suzuki works fucking mean. In your words, I would wager snug, correct?
Correct, sir.
Yes. And we know that Suzuki is also the king of pancrase.
Ah, yes. And so, if anybody knows what pancrase is, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Suzuki's like the only person I've watched like an old, like actual New Japan match with. Just fucking knock someone out fucking cold in the match.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Like legitimately, like that person was unconscious.
I've seen a video of him knocking somebody out. It's probably the same one.
I feel like I've seen the video of him against Ken Shamrock as well.
Ooh. Yeah. Ken and his brother did, Frank, both did pancrase, I'm pretty sure. And I know Boss Rutan did, right?
But I'm just imagining all of these great stipulations that mean motherfucker Suzuki is going to put on these matches. I don't see him dropping that fucking trophy at all this year. That's
right.
His. No one's taking that from him.
Right.
I think they've already set up a kind of angle with Yano being like going to be a thorn in his side because as Yano was rolling out of the ring, he handcuffed Suzuki to the ring ropes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Because Yano always has fucking gimmicks and weapons with him.
Of course.
Yeah, always.
Of course he did.
Suzuki got it.
Hear John now.
Yeah, I know. All the way, I can hear it over the wind all the way from fucking Colorado.
Fuck Yano.
There it is. There's some things you can always count on.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, you had the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championship. House of Torture. In other words, the Bullet Club side team.
Right.
Sho, Evil, and the Tokyo Pimp, Yujiro Takahashi.
Oh, yeah.
Going up
Evil. Evil's still at it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Going up against the team representing Chaos of Sho's former tag team partner Yo, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi. This was a lovely match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I like seeing my boy Yujiro keep the belts that he's got.
Right.
Because House of Torture won. And it was just a solid fucking match.
I'm happy that, because I haven't kept up, obviously, as like I probably should, but
yeah,
it is cool to see Evil still kind of relevant and in the card there, because he was just a pushover for so long.
Yeah, I mean, when he went to Bullet Club, they really started pushing him.
Oh yeah,
and now that he's got his own offshoot inside of Bullet Club, which I think will eventually probably spin off, kind of like the Elite did. I see them separating at some point. Right. It'll make me sad when they do, because Yujiro has been like a damn near OG Bullet Club member since like fucking 2014.
Right.
It'll make me sad, but I'm liking House of Torture in their fucking mean ways, and I hope they keep these 6-man tag belts for a while. But next, you had the beginning of what seems like it might become a yearly thing, where the United Empire doesn't win anything. This being a slight giving up the ghost for later, but Sonata beat the Great Okan in his match. Naito beat Jeff Cobb in his match.
Right. Wow, I bet that was good. I bet that was a good match.
Both of those matches were great. Both of them. Really. I mean, let's just say Naito worked Jeff Cobb's leg enough to where Cobb couldn't do Tour of the Islands. Every time he picked up Naito, he sold that leg. He dropped Naito and like hobbled that leg. Damn. And I was like, that's good stuff.
Some old school shit. Both guys, Jesus Christ. So I really hate I hadn't seen that, because I think the world of Jeff Cobb. I was. Oh yeah. When he made that one spot in AEW for a minute, I was like, shit, this is awesome. He's like to me, he's like a more intense and versatile Rhino.
Yes.
Is how I kind of look at him.
Yes. But
I love Rhino. I think Rhino's great, but like when it comes to just doing some alternative shit, like he definitely has that look and can do all this crazy shit at the same time. He's got that body style. Something about the fucking way he's built, man.
Yeah, he's built like fucking brick shit house. Next, the IWGP US title match. Tanahashi versus Kenta.
Ooh.
Kenta being the current title holder. This was a no DQ match. Let's just go ahead and say it ran the usual way. And I have not seen this in a New Japan ring before. Fucking chairs, trash cans, kendo sticks, ladders, fucking everything. They brought out the biggest goddamn ladder I've ever seen.
What the fuck?
Like, it had fucking butterfly nut screw-on crossbars to keep it open. Like that X on the sides. It took Kenta like 3 minutes to set that fucker up.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it took that goddamn long. Now, I will also say this. This match definitely had the nastiest botch in it.
Oh, shit.
Yes. And, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, fuck. Kenta already had a little bit of color. Tana had a little bit, too. You know, they both put each other through fucking, like, trash cans, tables, everything. Okay? Right. Well, they were tussling up on top of the ladder. And Kenta goes down. And when he takes the flop onto the mat, the trash can's there. The trash can is crumpled, and there's a sharp point. He hits his head on that point right above his eye.
Oh, shit.
Like, you legit saw it when he hit. He wasn't supposed... Like, it was an accident that he landed on it. Like, it was just one of those things. But you saw that he hit it, and he instantly, like, rolled to it. And then, you know, Tanahashi, I feel... did he fucking do a high fly flow off the fucking thing? It's been a few days since I watched it. Right. But he did the finish. He got the pin. Fucking Kenta just bleeding like a motherfucker. Like, they instantly ran in the ring with fucking towels and shit, started toweling off his head, fucking everything. Jesus. But he was bleeding like crazy, dude.
Good old school color.
Yeah, like, I mean, he had the classic, you know, little skeek. But then, like, oh boy. Oof, it was bad. Bad. I'm glad he didn't take it. Like, any lower, and that point on that trash can would have gone into his fucking eye. Right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Let's put it that way. It was insanely lucky, but I guarantee you he's going to have some stitches. But if you didn't pick up on that, Tana's the U.S. champion again.
Right.
So what I see that leading into is probably Tana coming back to the States, and then Lance Archer getting that go-ahead at that belt again, like he said he was going to get at the end of that pay-per-view over the summer.
I wonder, because, you know, right now they've got him sort of scheduled with Hangman Page.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how long that's going to last. But that would be nice if Tana come back and did that. That would be cool shit. But the timing isn't quite right yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it happening soon.
Right.
But knowing the way they like to keep belts on Tanahashi, I see that being a possibility because, you know, they already laid the groundwork for it if they decide to go back to it back over the summer.
Right.
So the groundwork's there. All they've got to do is figure out a way to get the angle working again. So, for this last night, the match is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Okada versus Will Ospreay, to see who is the true champion. Because Okada beat Shingo the night before for, as Ospreay called it, the interim title, which in actuality is the real one, because Ospreay had to, you know, relinquish the title due to injury earlier last year. But Ospreay, while after his injury cleared up and he was working the stateside circuit with Strong, etc., he brought his belt out and was using that, saying he was the real champ, he never got beat.
Right.
And all that. Well, damn fine match. Loads and loads of, is this going to be it? 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 Classic New Japan, where it's like they don't get like the cleanest hit with their finisher, so they kick out, you know, which I think New Japan does well. Sometimes they do it a bit too much, but it's not like stateside where you hit a clean fucking finish and someone kicks out. They do that thing where it's just not perfect.
Yeah. Like, where if your finisher is like where you have both legs, but for some reason you only have one for the cover, or just, you know, it doesn't look as, I get what you're saying, like, doesn't look as clean of like they do the move completely right. It's not they do it wrong. They're trying to sell the fact that they didn't hit it just right.
Exactly. But I will say this match, really solid. I mean, Okada beat Ospreay with the Rainmaker. It's nice to see Okada go back to his bread and butter instead of trying to do the money clip all the time, which he definitely tried to do many times during this match. But the moment of the match, really, was Ospreay fucking doing the moonsault off of the fucking lights.
Climbing the scaffold. I'd seen the thing about that, and I was like, oh my God, this match.
I mean, Like
He's done that before.
Yeah, like I said before, it's a callback to like either 2015 or 2016 when he's in that multi-man match with Ricochet.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It was fucking crazy looking then when he was younger, and now he's fucking beefy Ospreay now, and it looked even crazier. And, like, really, I mean, this match could have gone either way, but they definitely put that belt on Okada to give it some fucking clout.
Right. Well, I mean, Ospreay, man, is a workhorse, man. He really is. I've been following him since the whole, like, him and Ricochet, him and Ricochet had that one match everybody talked about. It was great. I don't remember which company it was for, but basically it was a high spot fest, but it looked more like an overly choreographed like fight scene in a movie more than it did a wrestling match.
Yeah.
But granted, it was still awesome. But that's just how it come off. And I was like, that's when Ospreay was on my radar. And then Vader had the little run in with him before Vader died. Vader talked shit about him on the internet, and then he responded kind of legit, like he was actually shooting back at Vader. But then Vader found his email, and Vader emailed him. He was like, "Hey man, you want to make some money?"
Yeah, I heard about that. Fucking Vader, man. He was great. But the last thing that I want to hit real quick, because it's 1 a.m.
Oh no, right?
I got to be up in 5 hours and 20
Oh
minutes.
Lord.
Well, really quickly, just run over the results from Night 3, the infamous New Japan versus Pro Wrestling Noah. I haven't had a chance to watch this yet because it just went live for New Japan World subscribers yesterday, and so I haven't had a chance to watch it because since it was a split between two promotions, they ran it more as a pay-per-view through Noah's stuff, and they didn't make it available for anyone who didn't pay for it until this a week after its air date. So the rundown of all the matches: Kosei Fujita in a time limit draw against Yasutaka Yano, not the Yano that we know,
not that Yano, yeah,
not that Yano, but a different one. So that's two. I'm gonna assume a Young Lion and another opener for the equivalent of a Young Lion from Noah.
Yeah. Then
you had Yuji Nagata, Tenzan, and Kojima going up against Funky Express, Muhammad Yone, King Tani, and Akitoshi Saito. The old boys from New Japan came out on top there. Next, you had Goto, Yoshihashi, Ishii, Taguchi, and Master Wato representing Chaos going up against Daisuke Harada, Hajime Ohara, Daiki Inaba, Yoshiki Inamura, and Kenya Okada. The boys from New Japan win again.
Of course.
Sho going up against Atsushi Kotogi. Sho wins. Next, you had the team called Stinger from Pro Wrestling Noah. Noah Hayata and Seiki Yoshioka defeated the team from Bullet Club of Taiji Ishimori and Gato. Next match, you had a Suzuki-gun team of El Desperado and Doki, which surprises me, but they gave them the win because 9 times out of 10, if Doki's on your team, you lose. But this time they didn't. They defeated Los Perros del Mal de Japón, which is Yohei and Nosawa Rongai, basically the evil dogs of Japan.
Right.
Translating that Spanish correctly.
Yeah.
Next, you had another crew-on-crew fight. You had Sugiura-gun and Yano, which is odd. So it's Yano wrestling with a Pro Wrestling Noah team.
Right.
Going up against Suzuki-gun, which was Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, and Taka Michinoku.
Oh, Taka. Oh, yeah. Taka.
We got Taka out again.
Wow.
Yano and his crew won.
Does Yano go back and forth?
Yano might have worked with these people in the past, is my guess. That would be the only reason I could think that they would team him up with them.
Right.
But yeah, that Sugiura-gun is definitely not a New Japan faction.
Understand. Okay.
Then you had Go Shiozaki and Masakita Miya defeating House of Torture, which was represented by Evil and Dick Togo this time.
Good old Dick Togo.
Good old Dick Togo. Next, you had Naomichi Marufuji against and Yoshinari Ogawa defeating Suzuki-gun, represented by Zack Sabre Jr. and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, which surprised me. I would put Zack Sabre Jr. over, but that's just me. Next, you had LIJ represented by Naito, Shingo, and Hiromu. Oh, and Sonata and Bushi. So basically all of LIJ going up against the faction Kongo from Pro Wrestling Noah, which is Katsushiko Nakajima, Keno, Manabu Soya, and Tadasuke and Aleja. Yeah, so LIJ get the win. And then finally, you had Okada and Tanahashi going up against the faces of Noah and Keiji Muto and Kaito Kiyomiya.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch this match because I did see a picture of fucking Muto hitting the Shining Wizard on Okada.
Oh, man. KJ is timeless, man.
He's fucking great. I mean,
he's still able to do some of this stuff. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, he quit doing the moonsault after his knees blew out.
Yeah.
Dude can still go. I mean, he's a little stiffer on the move now, you can tell, but I mean, that's age.
But I mean, he's still able to do some shit that people his age shouldn't be doing.
No. But surprisingly enough, they gave New Japan the rub on this one.
Really?
Yeah. Okada.
On the Noah show.
Yeah. On the Noah Split show. I guess since probably New Japan, got it all together.
Of course.
That's what it was. Yeah. But, I mean, still, it's crazy to see, fucking Muto in a match.
Right.
And on paper. I haven't seen the match yet, as I said again, but I'm super excited to see it. But, with that is everything other than, the Rock and Roll Express announcing their retirement tour this year.
Oh, yeah. And good for them. I mean, They had a nice little, almost a third run, in a sense, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's crazy how much shit they did. It's crazy.
I mean, seeing Ricky Morton do a fucking suicide dive was crazy.
More than once.
I was like, holy shit. Good for him. You know, they did a lot of stuff with the NWA. They did that spot with Santana Ortiz on AEW.
They did some shit with GCW.
He said, yeah. I mean, they definitely got their shit in, and it didn't come off hokey like it did in '98 when they tried to do the NWA shit, like I talked earlier, and they brought them in and just made them look like shit the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, those boys, they've been in it for a minute, and they still made it look good.
I've been in the locker room where Ricky Morton ran the locker room. You know what I mean? And he was very specific on what he wanted to see people do out there. He was like, look, if you're going to heal, he was like, every match don't need a nut shot. I don't want to see one nut shot out there. He's like, you save the nut shot for the big stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But because so many people did it, because nobody watched everybody else's match.
Mm-hmm.
And that was never, a lot of times in these indie shows weren't discussed. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to see the same power slams and same spine busters and same whatever in every match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just takes away from it to some sense. But nowadays it's harder. I mean, some moves are all used the same, like always. Like I've never seen the Canadian Destroyer done so much in my life till now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy how that's become the norm. Where when Petey Williams did it, it was like, holy shit, what was that? You know, and now it's just it's like a suplex.
Exactly. It's just some stuff's been done to death, but I will say this: it's been a hell of a ride, and I hope to see them kind of transition into something else after all these years. They deserve a damn break
for sure. They definitely have, and they're a big part of history, and I got nothing but respect for both of them. And I'm ready to see them go out on top, in a sense, instead of, in obscurity.
Exactly.
You know?
They got their faces back out there and relevant again.
For sure.
And now they're going to end on a high note.
Exactly.
But with that, we'll go ahead and say thanks to everyone for being patient and waiting a little longer for an episode to drop. Many thanks to Corey for popping in. I'm going to try and get other Corey back in here pretty soon because I know he definitely wants to talk about last week's Dynamite a little bit since he was there. Maybe we'll get some boots on the ground information from him. But we'll see how it goes. Either way, I've got Rampage to look forward to this Friday, so I'll definitely talk about that next week. But thanks for tuning in, definitely. Like and subscribe everywhere, you know, all that same shit you hear other people on the internet tell you to do. Just do it for us. Fuck them. You know, yeah, shoot us an email. Fuck it. It'll be in the show notes. Tell Falcon he's the best editor in the world because, you know, he makes us sound good, and I gotta keep him happy.
Yeah, I gotta stroke his ego a little bit.
I mean, you know.
Oh man, thanks again for having me, man. This was a blast.
Oh yeah, of course. You boys, you make it good every time you're on, and we'll definitely try to get John back in here with you again sometime soon. I just know he's they're breaking in a new band member, so Mondays are off the cards for him now too.
Oh shit!
Like, there's not a day of the week where he's not doing some sort of music, it seems.
Hey man, hey, good for him. Very happy for him keeping that going.
I know, man. He's the hardest working man in fucking Colorado's music scene, it seems.
Right.
Jesus Christ, 7 days a week. And still watches every fucking wrestling program there is.
Dedicated.
God damn, I don't know how he does it. The fuck? I miss it. But anywho, thanks for coming again, man. Everybody out there, thanks. We'll see you next week. It's been another episode of Post to Post. Catch you later. Bye.
See you next time.